What's up, everyone? All right, in today's episode, I'm going to break down my trades from the morning. I hit the ground running today. We had a stock that squeezed up over 350% on the news of a reverse merger. This is an interesting catalyst, and it's actually very similar to what we had yesterday on VEEE. VEE ended up going up yesterday to a high of over $40 a share. From $4 to $40 in one day, that's incredible. So today, when we had another stock with similar catalyst, you can bet that buyers are ready to step up to the plate and short sellers are probably a little bit nervous. Now you might notice, wait a second, Russ, that almost looks like a red shirt. You would be mistaken because this, of course, is my green shirt. That's right. I found a loophole in the superstition cycle that I've been caught in, like many of the greatest athletes of our generation. Yeah, I'm a bit superstitious. I throw salt over my shoulder if I spill it. I would never walk under a ladder. I would not break a mirror, and I would never, under any circumstances, wear a red shirt, which is why you can see I'm wearing my green shirt. Now, this is something that I came up with. I just took a white paintbrush. Well, I took a paintbrush, dipped it in white paint, and I wrote green shirt across the front. And I said, brilliant. I have just solved all of my problems in life with a simple stroke of a paintbrush. Now, I want to unlock this level of freedom and confidence for you, which is why the merch store at Warrior Trading now has green shirts available in all colors. You can get a green shirt in this shade color here. You can get a green shirt in blue. You can get a green shirt in black, a green shirt in white. It doesn't really matter. If you want a green shirt, you can have a green shirt. You can wear a green shirt every day of the week. Now, I don't want you to think I'm making money selling t-shirts because that's not really my thing, which is why we've got a coupon code so you can buy the t-shirt at cost. I really just want to spread the good word that you no longer have to be burdened by the red shirt. We can be unburdened by what has been, all right? You see what I'm saying? So, link is in the description for your green shirt. Check it out. Now, since this empowered me today to have such a great day, we should probably start looking at the stocks that I traded. All right, the leading gainer right now in the market, NXTC. Let's run that little intro. NXTC currently up 272%. It has pulled back a little bit off the top. Now, this had a high today of $12.30, but let's look at VEE from yesterday. So this one, let me just click auto here on my charts to scale it. This is unbelievable. So when this first popped up yesterday, initially I was like, yeah, we've seen this stock a bunch of times. You make boats, nobody cares, right? I mean, come on, let's just be real. How much money is a boat company going to make? What are they going to do? AI for autopilot? I mean, I just felt there was only so much they could really do. But in the past, now that's in the past, and this is a stock, VEE, that has popped up many times in the past, and it never really does that well. It rolls over. Again, it's a boat company. What do you expect? So you don't want your boat to roll over, but nonetheless, it's not one that's been able to do particularly well. So we get this move on yesterday on Monday, and the catalyst was that the company was selling off the seemingly profitable boat business, and they were doing a merger with another company, which was going to bring the other company into the public space. And so this is called reverse merger. So for instance, just as an example, let's say Warrior Trading wants to go public. There's two ways to go public. Well, three ways. You can do an IPO, a traditional IPO, where you work with an underwriter, a big bank like Goldman Sachs or whatever. And that bank basically comes to you and says, Warrior, we've looked at your balance sheet, looked at how much money you make, blah, 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 blah. This is how much we're going to give you for all of the stock that you want to sell. So we're going to give you, $1 billion, whatever. That'd be amazing, right? So they're going to give you, here's the check. And then what Goldman Sachs does is they are the ones that actually go sell your shares to other investors, and they sell them on the market, and they make a profit by taking that risk. So they, God forbid, something terrible comes out in news between when they give you the money and then actually the IPO, that could be a problem. So they take risk, they get compensated for their risk. They get compensated very well. The second way a company can go public is through a special purpose acquisition company, a SPAC. These were very popular during 2021, 2022. Trump Media went public through a SPAC. And a special purpose acquisition company is a shell company. And everyone that buys into the shell company as an investor buys in at $10 a share. So if the SPAC, the special purpose acquisition company, raises $100 million, they can now use that money, or they raise $1 billion, whatever, to go find a privately held company, buy it, and then merge it into the SPAC and do a name change. And then just like that, that company is now a publicly traded company. And doing a reverse merger is the third way, and it's very similar. So a publicly traded company that maybe isn't particularly profitable can be approached, or could approach, a privately held company and say, the privately held company usually says, we want to go public and we want to do a merger with you. And then they do basically a swap. And so the publicly traded company sometimes will sell off their profitable business to a private entity. And then the other private company becomes publicly traded and they do a simple change and a name change. So that's what happened that's what's happening in the case of VEEE. And in the case of NXTC, that's the same headline. Announces a reverse merger with a privately held company in a $320 million deal. So suddenly the stock squeezes up, again, because of the big move we saw yesterday. Unfortunately, as awesome as this move was, the bulk of it was early in the morning before 7 a.m., which is when most retail traders come online. You see, that's a burst of volume. But 7 a.m. was, right about here. And so we already had this big move, this big rally up. It pulls back, it comes back up, dips down, drops. Then it rallies up here. And so right at 7 a.m., we had this pop. And I considered that to be a false breakout with the high of 840. And I thought, look, if this gets back over 840, I'm interested. And so later, as it curls back up, only a few minutes later at 7:15, I jumped in there for the break of 840. It goes to 9 almost immediately, up to 950, as you can see, up to 10, up to 1050, up to 11, up to 1150, up to 12. An incredible move. Locked up $19,000 of profit, but then it flushes back down. You end up getting this topping tail. And I never like a topping tail like that. It shows that while the stock squeezed, it ended up, dropping back down. So it sells off, sort of goes sideways, comes up, another rejection there. And I didn't end up taking any more trades on it. That was just one really good trade. Traded it in the small account, traded it in the big account for $19,000 of profit. And then I broke the ice on JTAI. This is a stock that popped up just for a moment. I jumped in and jumped out. I lost, jumped in and jumped out. I lost $235 on it. And then the last stock I traded was UBXG. UBXG popped up this morning, pulled back, and I got in as it was curling back up, but I added to the position thinking it was going to squeeze through the high, then it dropped down. I stopped out for a $1,700 loss. Then I got back in, and then I stopped out a second time. Then I got back in, and I stopped out a third time. This thing just did not want to break through 11. Now, finally, as you can see here, it halted up a second time, broke through 11, and is now dropping back down. Some tricky price action, but nonetheless, I'm sitting in the green, $13,200.70. I'd say that's a decent day. Yesterday was an $8,000 green day, so now $13,000 today. That's $20,000 plus on the week. So that puts me up a little over $90,000 on the month of July. $100,000 is the first goal, then $200,000, $300,000, and $400,000. Last month I hit just under $600,000 between the small account and the big account. So I'm looking to continue that momentum and have a solid month of July. And, with this move that we had yesterday on VEE, the move on NXTC today, it feels like the market is still pretty warm. So although I wasn't able to absolutely crush it today, I'm green. I'm grateful for that. And I will live to trade another day. So with that brief recap, I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. Make sure you check out your green shirt with the link pinned to the top of the comments, and I will see you streaming at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.